Welcome to the Great Galactic Arena, or as I like to call it, the place where dreams go to die, I muttered to myself, adjusting the fit of my helmet. The crowd roared around me, a cacophony of alien languages and noises that made my head throb. Being the first human gladiator in the arena's history was supposed to be an honor. I mean, that's what they told me back on Earth. Jake Carter, humanity's finest warrior, they said. Show them what humans are made of. Yeah, well, they forgot to mention the part where I'd be fighting creatures with more limbs than I have fingers and teeth sharper than my sarcasm. My first opponent was a four-armed beast from some unpronounceable planet. It looked like a cross between a gorilla and an octopus, with the grace of neither. As it lumbered towards me, I couldn't help but crack a smile. "Hey there, Squidward! You come here often?" The creature snarled and charged. I dodged, feeling the wind of its massive arms swing past my head. Rolling to the side, I jabbed my plasma spear into its side. It roared in pain and fury, turning its beady eyes towards me with murderous intent. Great, now it was angry. Just what I needed. I ducked under another swing, sliding between its legs and coming up behind it. A quick swipe with my spear and one of its tentacles fell to the ground. The crowd erupted in cheers, probably more for the bloodshed than my skill, but I'd take what I could get. Finally, with a well-timed thrust to its chest, the beast collapsed. The announcer's voice boomed overhead. "And the winner is Jake Carter, the human gladiator." Panting and covered in alien goo, I raised my spear in victory. One down, countless to go. I could almost hear the earth cheering me on, or maybe that was just the sound of my own heart pounding in my ears. Between matches, the other gladiators and I shared a communal area. Imagine a locker room, but with more tentacles, scales, and ominous glowing eyes. I was sitting on a bench, trying to clean alien guts off my armor, when a massive, lizard-like creature sat next to me. "Nice move out there, human," it hissed, its forked tongue flicking in and out. But that was just the appetizer. The real challenge is next. I glanced over, suppressing a groan. "And you are?" "Krakthor, from the planet Draconius. The next one you face is from my planet. We breed champions, not weaklings like that four-armed fool." "Great," I said, rolling my eyes. "Can't wait to see what monstrosity you've got lined up for me next. Should I be expecting fire breath, acid spit, or just another angry squid?" Krakthor let out a low, rumbling laugh. "You'll see soon enough, human. If you survive, maybe we'll share a drink. If not, well, it's been entertaining." I watched him saunter away, his tail swishing behind him. "Yeah, sure. Drinks on me if I make it," I muttered, returning to my task. I had a feeling that if I survived this next round, I'd need something stronger than a drink. The next fight was held in the Inferno Arena, a place so hot it made Arizona in summer feel like a mild spring day. My opponent, naturally, was a fire-breathing dragon. Because of course it was. Standing in the middle of the arena, I couldn't help but marvel at the sheer size of the creature. "Well, Jake," I muttered to myself, "you wanted adventure. Here it is, in flaming technicolor." The dragon roared, a sound that shook the very ground beneath me. It spread its wings, casting a shadow over the entire arena. I gripped my spear tighter, trying to ignore the sweat pouring down my face. "All right, big guy, let's dance." The dragon launched itself at me, jaws snapping. I barely managed to roll out of the way, feeling the heat of its breath singe my armor. I scrambled to my feet and jabbed at its underbelly, but the spear glanced off its scales. "Figures," I grumbled. "Should have brought a bigger stick." Ducking another swipe of its claws, I spotted a weak point just below its jaw. Taking a deep breath, I charged forward, aiming for the spot. The dragon reared back, but I was faster. With a powerful thrust, I drove the spear into its throat. The dragon let out a final, choking roar before collapsing. I stood there, panting and covered in soot, as the crowd erupted into cheers once more. "And the winner against all odds is Jake Carter, the human gladiator." I raised my spear weakly, feeling every muscle in my body scream in protest. "Another one bites the dust," I muttered, staggering out of the arena. I was going to need more than a drink after this. Back in the locker room, Krakthor approached me again. This time he looked impressed. "You've got guts, human. Most would have been fried by now." "Thanks, I think," I replied, sinking onto a bench. "So, about that drink?" Krakthor laughed, a deep, throaty sound. "You've earned it. Follow me." We made our way to a dimly lit corner of the arena complex where a bar served all manner of alien concoctions. I eyed the drinks warily. Got anything that won't melt my insides? The bartender, a three-eyed purple-skinned creature, grinned. One human-friendly beverage, coming right up. Crackthor and I clinked glasses. To surviving, he said. To not dying, I agreed. As we drank, Crackthor leaned in. You've got potential, Jake. With some training, you could be one of the best. Flattery will get you everywhere, I said with a smirk. But seriously, what's your angle? Crackthor shrugged. I'm tired of seeing the same old faces win. You're a wild card, a breath of fresh air. Plus, it's always good to have allies in this place. I considered his words. An alliance with Crackthor could be beneficial. All right, Crackthor, you've got yourself an ally. We shook hands, or rather, I shook his claw. This alliance might just be the edge I needed. A week later, I found myself facing the ultimate challenge, the reigning champion, a colossal being known as Zorgath the Unstoppable. They really had a knack for naming things around here. Zorgath was a mountain of muscle and metal towering over me like a skyscraper. As we stood in the center of the arena, I couldn't help but feel a pang of doubt. All right, Jake, I muttered. Time to earn that title. The battle was a blur of dodging, blocking, and desperately trying to find an opening. Zorgath's attacks were relentless, each strike sending shockwaves through the ground. My spear felt like a toothpick against his armor. I managed to land a few hits, but they barely seemed to faze him. He laughed, a deep rumbling sound that echoed through the arena. Is that all you've got, human? Gritting my teeth, I pushed myself harder. I ducked under a swing and jabbed at his leg, aiming for a joint. Zorgath roared in pain and fury, but it wasn't enough. He slammed his fist into the ground, sending me flying. I hit the ground hard, my vision swimming. As I struggled to stand, I saw Crackthor in the crowd, gesturing frantically. He was pointing to Zorgath's back. Of course, the weak spot. With a burst of energy, I rolled to my feet and charged. Zorgath turned, but he was too slow. I leaped onto his back, climbing up like a squirrel on a tree. With a final desperate thrust, I drove my spear into the base of his neck. Zorgath let out a shuddering roar before collapsing. The crowd was silent for a moment, then erupted into deafening cheers. And the winner, the new champion, Jake Carter, the human gladiator. Panting and exhausted, I raised my spear in victory. I had done it. I had proven humanity's strength in the arena of the stars. Back in the locker room, Crackthor approached me, a broad grin on his face. You did it, Jake. You're the champion. Yeah, I said, sinking onto a bench, but I couldn't have done it without you. Crackthor clapped me on the back. We make a good team, human. What's next for the great Jake Carter? I smiled, thinking of Earth and the people who had cheered me on. I think it's time to take a break from all this fighting. Maybe use my new status to negotiate some better terms for humanity. Crackthor nodded. A wise choice. But remember, the arena will always be here. If you ever get bored, there's always another challenge waiting. Thanks, Crackthor. I'll keep that in mind. As I made my way out of the arena, the crowd still cheering my name, I couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. I had come here as a nobody, a human trying to prove himself in a galaxy of giants. Now, I was a champion. But more importantly, I had shown that humans could stand toe-to-toe with the best the galaxy had to offer. And that, I thought with a grin, was worth every drop of sweat and every bruise. I boarded the transport ship that would take me back to Earth, feeling a mix of relief and anticipation. The adventures of Jake Carter, human gladiator, might be over for now, but I had a feeling this was just the beginning of something even greater. As the ship lifted off, I looked back at the arena one last time. See you around, space cowboys, I whispered, a smile tugging at my lips. The stars stretched out before me, endless and full of possibilities, and I was ready for whatever came next.